Now, tertiary education institutions are bracing for an influx of new students. Registrations began on the 16th of January and will close on the 20th of February. Universities across the country say they're quite ready, but there are concerns there's not enough space for all prospective students. Our reporter Nqobile Madlala is following developments and joins us now from Durban with the very latest. Good morning, Nqobile. So, broadly speaking, KZN placed second in the country for the number of matrics who passed. Now, many of those are looking for spaces at higher institutions of learning. How's it going for most of them?
Well, definitely, Vundo. I mean, even those that we spoke to earlier on, when it was the time when they were getting results, you could see that they were very keen to get to these universities. A lot of them have dreams of basically studying whatever they have always hoped for since they were young. So you can imagine the influx of students that will then decide to go to these universities. But of course, there are processes that needs to be followed. And of course, now I'm joined by DUT registrars to sort of speak to us about that. I can imagine that you're already seeing quite a lot of hopeful university hopefuls who wants to get the space in the university. How is it going so far?
Yes, good morning. Yes, we do see a lot of what we normally refer to as walk-ins, but it is very important to indicate that preparations for this 2023 registration season have started as far back as towards the end of the first semester in 2022. We used all forms of platforms to communicate our closing dates for applications, but we also did school visits through our school engagement efforts led by our student recruitment unit. Despite that, our people still wait for the last moment, and unfortunately, with the experience at UJ a few years ago, a firm decision was taken in the sector to no longer allow walk-ins as well as late applications. So at the moment, that's where we are. However, we are able to communicate quite politely to those that may have missed our communication in terms of our closing dates, and that applications are closed, obviously. We are able, rather than just turning them back in a hostile fashion, we are politely communicating to them, and they seem to understand and accept the situation as is. We've also deployed student leaders at various points who are also communicating the same message. So we do not anticipate problems we've experienced previously, where students would just be called in, being given false hope. Yeah. Yes, this year we are speaking from the same notebook, so to speak.
And I imagine with that, as you say, you've prepared in advance for this, but there's always going to be somebody who doesn't understand, who hasn't been there, who doesn't know how it works. We know that KZN is largely rural. There are areas that don't have signal currently, people who don't know how to apply. How do you ensure that those people get the information, one? Two, how do they apply if they're in a space where they don't have access to such?
Obviously, in this day and age, our business processes are online, including applications. However, we've also loaded videos that guide applicants on what to do, and we've also loaded chatbots with frequently asked questions, and we update that from time to time. So applicants should not really be confused in terms of applying. And again, looking at the number of applications we have received just for 2023, almost 200,000 applications received for this year, competing for only 8,000 spaces available.
That's a very tough one, I can imagine, for the school. We do know that already the Parliament Portfolio Committee is going to be doing a walkabout in DUT. This is going to happen tomorrow, we understand now. Could you perhaps tell us how ready are you, and what will you be telling the Portfolio Committee?
We are definitely looking forward to the visit by the Portfolio Committee tomorrow, where they will be exercising or playing their oversight role to have a sense of the university's readiness for the commencement of the 2023 academic year, and they will also be doing an inspection in loco of our facilities, particularly our residences. And there are a number of good stories to tell in terms of our readiness, and that's exactly what we are going to tell them. For instance, as far as residences are concerned, in order to enhance what we call our living learning communities, we have brought in a new way of accommodating our students in residences by grouping them in terms of faculties to ensure that our residence tutorial program can go ahead without hindrances of students having to move from one rest to another to meet with study mates and so on. From our side, that's an innovative idea which will also assure us of improved success rates going forward.
But I mean, I know that there's always complications, starts of the year, there's always not seeing eye to eye. Why is it important for the portfolio committee then to be here to ensure that those stresses don't happen?
It is important for the portfolio committee to be here to have first-hand information of what is happening around the university. You may have become aware that there's a relative calmness around the university, and this emanates from our preparations that started last year, where we created constructive engagement platforms with student leadership in relation to in addition to our multi-role player forum that we from time to time convene. We've also started our quarterly Lekgotla dialogue series, where we also give an opportunity to the so-called silent majority to have their voices heard and to actually understand what challenges students go through, particularly during a period such as this one. And we will be, during the duration of this period, having daily registration monitoring sessions with all stakeholders, including student leadership, to ensure that we do not go through the kind of challenges we've had in the past. It is not only high time, but time up, that we actually turn the corner as the university.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, you can hear them, Mfundo, a lot of preparations are going in place to ensure that those students do understand what is expected for them, but also to make sure that the teaching and learning begins on time. And like you're saying, they are turning that corner.